Welcome to Middle Grade Book Adventures, where every month at the Kingston Library, we preview a new middle grade novel that we think you might like. This month, we are going to look at The Stars Did Wander Darkling by Colin Meloy, who is the best-selling author of the Wildwood Chronicles, which are also available at the library. This book is a little bit spooky, which is perfect for October. I am going to read from Chapter 4. A chain-link fence now ran along the Langdon property. It took an improbable dive down the face of the cliff to the beach below. Here, the fence extended out to where the ocean met the sand, to keep all would-be invaders off the job site. To the north and south, twin promontories jutted out from the headlands, sealing off the beach. Even though it was technically public land, the only access was the road that ran by the Langdon place. Several large imposing signs that read, "Danger, do not enter," and "Construction area, keep out," were zip-tied to the chain link. A padlocked gate barred any entrance. On the other side of the fencing, a few pieces of heavy construction machinery lay quiet on the sand, safe from the reach of the tides. One, a front-end loader, was parked near the cliff face, just in front of a massive gash that ran up the mudstone and basalt rock of the cliff. It seemed to sever the rock face like a bolt of lightning from the base of the cliff to the top of the promontory, where little patches of grass could be seen clinging to the edge. The machine was surrounded by piles of newly made boulders. The four kids ditched their bikes on the sand and approached the fence, fishing their fingers between the chain links. "Can you see anything?" asked Oliver, peering through the fence. "Nah, that machine's in the way," said Athena. "That must be the cave," said Chris. "There, down below that crack. Can you see it?" "Barely," said Oliver. Archie's skin was crawling. He couldn't wait to get out of there. "Well," he said, after a moment passed, and they'd all taken in the sight. "There it is. I guess we can—" "Hey, guys, look," said Chris. He was pointing to where the fence ended. It seemed as if the barrier had been constructed during a high tide, when the chain link would have extended into the ocean. Now, at low tide, there was a gap between the end of the fence and the water. Archie glanced at Oliver. "We're not getting any closer," he said. Oliver swore. "I guess I did," said Oliver. He looked sheepishly at his friends. "Dudes," said Chris, "we've come all this way. Can we just, get a little closer? I mean, we can't really see anything from here." He looked at the other three kids as he said this. "All in favor of getting a closer look?" 3 hands were raised in the air. Archie kept his close to his side. He glanced around nervously. "Oliver, what about St. Michael and St. George and whoever?" Oliver shrugged. He pushed up his glasses to the bridge of his nose. "No one's going to see us," said Chris, walking to the edge of the fence. "We're just going to take a quick peek." But before Archie could be convinced and won to their side, both Chris and Oliver had slipped around the end of the fence and began approaching the cliff. Soon, Chris's voice came from behind the machine, shouting, "You guys, you have to come look at this." It looked more like a crack than a cave, a jagged scar at the base of the cliff. At its widest, it was barely 4 feet across, but the darkness beyond suggested that it opened into a deep seam in the earth. Archie and Athena came up from behind their 2 friends, who were standing just in front of the cave. They were all staring at it, mystified. Athena was the first to speak. "This is what they stopped everything for?" she asked. "Look," said Oliver, pointing up the cliffside. "The crack goes all the way up to the top." "Dad said that the whole cliff was like Swiss cheese," said Archie. "Holes in the rocks everywhere." "So this must just be the opening," said Chris. "Swiss cheese," said Oliver wistfully. "Careful, Ollie," said Archie. "Don't get too close." A knot had developed in his stomach. He could feel it coiling there below his ribcage. "I want to see what's in it," Oliver said. He placed his hands on the edge of the fissure and craned his neck to look inside. He adjusted his glasses on the bridge of his nose. "Whoa," he said. "It's really deep." "Oliver," said Archie, suddenly overcome by his fear. "Back up." "Yeah, Ollie," said Athena. "Maybe you shouldn't go too far." "Just a sec," said Oliver. "I just want to see—" He stopped speaking. He He let go of the edge of the crack and quickly began to back away from the wall. "What's up, Oliver?" asked Chris. The boy continued to steadily walk backward, his eyes fixed on the hole. "Oh, God," he murmured, and then he froze in place. "Oliver?" asked Athena meekly. But then something strange happened. The boy, continuing to stand upright, became locked into a kind of rigor mortis stance, his hands clenched at his sides and his lips tightly pursed. His eyelids fluttered wildly. For a moment before, in a flash, his irises flew back in his head, revealing the whites of his eyes. "Oliver!" shouted Athena. She ran to grab him, but the boy jerked back and fell to the ground. There was a dull thud as his head struck a piece of rock jutting from the sand. His glasses flew from his face. His eyes focused heavenward again, his pupils visible. He was staring blankly at the sky. He began to mutter odd, unintelligible bits of words. Spittle flew from his lips as he spoke. "It's one of his whatevers," shouted Chris, running to Oliver's side. "It's happening again." "What do we do?" yelled Athena. "I don't know," said Chris. If you're curious about what the kids find in the cave, be sure to come by the library and check out The Stars Did Wander Darkling by Colin Meloy. And make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next middle grade book adventure.